First I'm going to peel and mince up some garlic. So I've minced the garlic and now I'm going to add part of it into a little bit of butter. I'm doing a Cornish game hen, so I'm not using a ton of any of my ingredients. You can do the same recipe with a full-size chicken, just add more butter and more garlic if that's what you're doing. And while you're preparing this, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 375. I'm putting mine at about 325 because it cooks incredibly hot. And now to the butter. I'm using Irish butter, but you can use any kind of butter or any kind of oil you want. I'm going to add a little seasonal. These are just the seasonings I like. If you like something else, use that instead. A little Old Bay, onion powder, garlic powder, and then I'm going to add parsley. Again, just because this is the stuff that I like the flavor of. I basically use these same seasonings on any poultry that I make. Next, you want to use some onion. I'm going to dice up just this little end of a white onion that I have left. And then I'm going to cut some sweet onion. I'm leaving 1 or 2 chunks big like this, and that I'm just going to set on top of the Cornish game hen or chicken if that's what you're using. The rest I'm just going to dice however big you want them. I'm just going to mix them in with the potato and carrot that I add in. Now to my Dutch oven, which mine is just a 2-quart little mini one. Amazon Basics, and I love it. It's perfect size for just 1 Cornish game hen. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil. You can use whatever you like. I'm using olive oil, and I'm using a little bit of vegetable oil just to raise the smoke point a little bit. And this is just to keep things from sticking on the bottom of the pan. I've preheated the Dutch oven a little bit, which is just something I always like to do. And then I'm going to lay a few onions in the bottom of the pan. This is just going to be to keep the game hen from sticking to the bottom or touching the bottom directly. I'll brush it all with a little bit of oil. And here I've just diced up 2 smaller potatoes. Because this is such a small pan, I'll just rub it with the little leftover oil that's on this brush. And then I'm going to put the same seasoning on the potatoes that I put into that butter. Next I'm going to chop up these 2 carrots just into the sizes that I like them. And again, I'm saving the ends for stock. So I've cut these carrots into bite-sized chunks, and I'm just going to set them aside with the potatoes and the minced onion and garlic just until I get the bird into the pot. Here's the Cornish game hen. Now I'm going to stick my fingers between the skin and the meat and just separate it. We're making a pocket essentially to put some of that butter that we mixed in the beginning into. And I'm going to do this on both sides, and you can see now we have a big open space in there between the meat and the skin. I've already sort of done it on this side. Now I just use my hands for all of this. If you want to wear gloves, you can. So just going to take a clump of that butter and stick it in the skin and just work it into the bird. You could even slip some onions under here, which I might do. You could put whole cloves of garlic also, but since I have it in the butter, I'm not going to. So now we have butter on this side. I'm going to stick some in on this side too. You can see I ripped the skin a little bit, but that's okay. And I am going to throw just one big piece of onion in there since it's such a small bird. And then I'm going to wash my hands. Now I'm going to liberally season this guy, again with the same seasonings I used to start with. I'm just going to flip him. I'm going to do both sides. I've liberally seasoned both sides and now I just rub the rub in with my fingers. Now we can put the bird in, and I don't ever tie the legs. I just find that it's not necessary. And another thing I'm going to do is add a hunk of onion and a crushed up entire garlic clove into the cavity of the bird, just to kind of flavor it from the inside. And wash my hands again. I've placed the remaining seasoned butter into the microwave. And I'm taking that basting brush, which I'll be using later as well, and just drizzling it on the bird. And then I have a little left that I will put on the veggies. Now we're going to add the vegetables in around the bird. Just kind of squeeze it in around it. Again, like I said, I don't tie the legs together. I've never found it to be necessary because they kind of get stuffed with vegetables around and it keeps them together. So now all the vegetables are in there, and I'm just going to take a few chunks of onion, place them on top to give it flavor and to keep it moist. And I have a little remaining butter. So now I'm just going to cover this, and it's going to bake at your 375 for an hour. And what I do is every 15 minutes I'll take it out and baste it with this brush just by tilting the pan and dunking it. So cover it and cook it for 1 hour. So this is going to be the second time I baste it. I just tilt the pan, get the juice and dribble it over the bird and the vegetables. And like I said, I do this every 15 minutes. So now it's been an hour since I've put this in. I'm just going to baste it one last time. Now you're going to throw it back in the oven uncovered and leave it for a half hour, and it'll crisp up with the skin on top. So this should be done. I'm just going to temp it with a meat thermometer in the fat part where the thigh meets the body. And it's going up to 180, and it only needs to be 160, so it should be fine. Almost up to 200 actually. So this is cooked and ready to serve.